Ramírez.
And I'm Hoffny Valcin.
And today we're going to talk about an issue that has overwhelmed our community for many years.
This problem is not something that is just happening recently. It is something that has been at all times and is part of our history.
The topic that we're going to analyze today by using two articles is the stereotype and the racial difference of the police encounters.
Conducted two studies with the intention of testing how cultural stereotypes that being black people as criminals affect how black people experience police interactions. They also wanted to test how gender affects the perceived threat in these police interactions. The researchers hypothesized that black people, but not white people, perceive stereotype threat in their police interactions for fear of being found wrongfully guilty. This hypothesis was supported with their first study, and it also found that men were more likely to have concerns about being stereotyped as criminals than women did. Their second study corroborated these findings. Additionally, they found that black people were more likely to anticipate anxiety, regulate their behavior, and inadvertently demonstrate behaviors that police deem as suspicious and potential police situations. These findings are important because they help to understand the relevant issue of bias-based policing. If regulatory behavior by innocent black people makes them behave in ways police perceive as suspicious, when that is the exact type of behavior police officers are looking for, it obviously will create a problem of police officers arresting innocent black people.
In addition to the stereotype and the racial difference in police encounters, black people are not the only ones who have that problems and concerns when it comes to the police encounters. According to the racial articles, any and gender differences in perception of the police, Latinos are commonly associated with that profile as a criminal, so that generates a very low level of trust when it comes to having a confrontation with a police officer. Such perceptions are very serious problems for the communities, as it creates a major disadvantage that these communities experience throughout the justice system and with the police. In this article, a study is made which let us see how the race of the officer can influence a law when it comes to stop people, and with the Latinos and with the black community. Also, in this article, it said that the males across the system and across the racial and ethnic groups are more likely than females to report negative encounters with the police. Now let's go to our reporter that is asking some questions to the community.
Have you ever associated with officers outside of their profession?
Yes, I have a friend that's an officer. He's all cool and all when he's not working, but when he's working, he's a prick.
No, I don't really have any interactions with officers without them being at work. I don't have any officers in my family or around my family, so no. The worst situation I've been in with a police officer was a highway pullover. Me and my dad got pulled over. We was going about 95, and there was a car in front of us that was going about 110, a Tesla. The Tesla got pulled over, and so did we. The Tesla got to go within minutes, and we were interrogated, ticketed. We were there for about an hour, and the Tesla, the guy that was driving the Tesla, was a white male, and me and my dad are African American, so I believe that was the cause of us being there for so long.
Do you think that some officers abuse their power when it comes to people with criminal stereotypes?
Yes, they do, because some of them think they are the law when they're not the law. They should be actually enforcing the law.
Yes, some officers abuse their power, especially when stopping people that they're thinking with like a criminal stereotype. Like I said before, my worst situation with a police was in the highway pullover. Me and my dad were driving in a blue Charger, a sports car, and I believe that's the only reason why we got pulled over with the guy that was going 110, and the only reason why we didn't get to go right away with the guy that was going with 110 was because we were African American. So, yes, police do abuse their power, and most of them just do it because they can, or they pull over people based on the car or based on the way they think they look. If a white male is wearing a hoodie at night, it's less noticeable than a black male that's wearing a hoodie in the night. I believe the black male that's wearing the hoodie in the nighttime will get more attention than the white male that's wearing the hoodie at night.
How does your race or the race of an officer affect your experience with an officer?
Because a lot of times when a white officer pulls over a black person, you automatically think you're a criminal. And some of them don't like African American.
Yes, I do believe race matters when having an interaction with a police officer. Having an interaction with a white police officer, the conversation is more tense. I'm more focused on what he's telling me to do than my answers. It's just like more fuzzled. Like I feel less comfortable in a situation with a white police officer than I would with a black police officer. I feel like I can speak freely with a black police officer. I can explain what I was doing. If a question is being asked with a white police officer, I'll just go ahead and agree to everything they're saying. Most times. Yeah.
What is the best time you had with an officer?
Family time. That's the best time I've ever had with an officer because my cousin is a police.
The best time I've had with a police officer is walking home from an after-school activity, and a group of us just got off the bus. We were walking home, African Americans, and this white cop came over and he was like, we have to stay here because a group of guys, two boys or a group of guys just robbed the dollar store, and we need to tell him where the boys went. They just went past here, so we must have seen it. And then a black police officer came over and he was like, they're coming from practice, they're coming from school, it's fine, they can go. And we were relieved, we left. And yeah, that was the best time I've had with a police officer.
Okay. What do you feel would help improve the community safety and keep bad people out of the streets if we didn't have officers?
Neighborhood watch, activities for young people, and stuff like that to keep them entertained.
How many officers do you think are dirty cops percentage-wise?
60-40. 60 mean you have a lot of good cops, but the 40% that are bad kind of like overshadow the 60% of good cops, so you can't really tell. So, yeah.
I think at least 30% of police officers would be or can somehow be determined as a bad cop. Most of them don't even know that they're being like stereotypical or know that they're doing something that people will think that's a racial thing, and some of them really do, but 30% or 45% can be determined somehow of being a bad cop. I believe most people do bad things based on circumstances, so the change of their circumstance might change the influence they have to do bad things. So that could be one thing to improve the crime rate in the communities without police officers, circumstance, like the change of circumstances. Yes, I do agree that males have worse or negative cases when dealing with the police than females. That is also a stereotype that we don't really talk about. but a male interaction with police can end in death more often than a female interaction with the police. So yes, I do believe that males have a more chance of having negative cases with the police officers.